As likely as it is that you try to keep up with that never ending to do list, part of the reason it is so hard to be consistent is because there are so many seasonal tasks and projects that pop up and throw us off of our routines and our rhythms. And I think that taking a little bit of time to anticipate what's coming up can make all the difference in helping you get really clear and realistic around what your priorities in the coming weeks should be and how to ensure that you protect the time and space necessary to make sure that they happen. One of the ways I want to help you to do this is to consider what is happening between now, the first week of April, the time of this recording, and when summer break begins. So for my kids, that's at Memorial Day. For yours, that might be the first week or two of June. So let's just take a few minutes, run through a list of what's coming up in the next few weeks to give you the opportunity to just do a little bit of planning and to consider what's going to matter and what might be happening in the next few weeks that you hadn't already accounted for. And I promise, as is the case with everything we do here in Mom Life Handbook, we're going to talk about how to keep this manageable and how to keep this personalized to you and your family. If that's what you need more of in your life today, you're in the right place. Let's simplify things together. I'm Erin Christopoulos, a mother of two and teacher-turned-mom strategist who puts the pieces of mom life together so you don't have to. I get that you're short on time and don't have the capacity to figure out everything on your own, which is why I'm here to help you get clear on where to put your focus while protecting your time and energy so you can actually enjoy these years with your little ones. I'm ditching the overwhelming and unrealistic one-size-fits-all tactics and replacing them with an approach that's practical and personal, because I believe your family is one of a kind with its own qualities and values that deserve an adaptable approach, offering support and encouragement where you need it most. From honest conversations and mindset shifts to practical tips and sustainable strategies, consider this your customizable guide to mom life. With the tools and resources you need at your fingertips, you'll finally have the confidence and clarity you need to bring more intention and ease to everyday life so that you and your family thrive. This is the Mom Life Handbook. By the time April rolls around every year, something happens in me where I start to kick things into high gear. I don't know if it's the changing weather and that it just feels warmer and I want to be more productive, or if it's the time crunch, realizing that my kids are only in school for another 7 or 8 weeks. And then our entire routine is going to change. Our days are going to look entirely different. And I want to get as much done before that happens as possible. Either way, this is definitely the time where I start to make a mental list of everything that needs to happen between now and the start of summer break. So I thought I would bring you along and share 10 things that you might want to have on your radar in the coming weeks, just because these are things that can seemingly crop up out of nowhere, even though I get that this happens year after year. We should probably anticipate these things by now, but truth be told, we are just in the daily grind, and it is so easy to have those blinders on and lose sight of the fact that there are some seasonal things that are coming up that might be important. Now, before we dive into this list, I want to give you 2 quick reminders. 1, you do not have to do everything that's on my list. I'm not even doing everything that's on this list. But here's what I did do. I went through this list and I decided, is this important to me and my family, or is this not important to me and my family? Some years these things have been, some years they haven't been. It all just depends on where you're at in this point in time. And I want you to really embrace that and lean into it. This is really where I want you to filter through this list with the question of, is this something I feel like I should do, or is something I must do? Is this an actual priority? This is such a good exercise to practice on a daily basis when going through your to-do list. And I think that this is an excellent opportunity for you to just give it a dry run, see how it feels. And I hope that you walk away from this episode with a list of less than 10 seasonal things that you should be doing. You hopefully are only walking away with less than a handful of items that you should account for. And then the other thing I want you to consider about is the extent to which you do these things. Spring is associated with things like spring cleaning. And yes, it is so nice to have a deep clean in your home, but realistically, is that something that's going to happen? Maybe not. Maybe you choose 1 or 2 rooms where you do that. Or maybe you do a light clean throughout the entire house. Maybe you declutter or minimize the things that you have in your laundry room so that you can make that space more efficient for your endless loads of laundry that you're trying to get through every week. Whatever it is, make sure that it's the right fit for you and what you need at this point in time. So let's dive into this list super quickly. I want to get in and get you on your way. So the first is Mother's Day. Seems silly to have that as number 1 when it's, at least at this point in time, several weeks out. But if you go out for Mother's Day, let's just make sure that you've coordinated with the family, that you know what the plan is. If you need to, that you have a reservation already put down, because there's nothing worse than the last minute scramble for a Mother's Day reservation. Also, this is a great time to communicate if you have any expectations for Mother's Day of either your kids or your partner or extended family. Express them now from a place of sharing what really matters to you and what would be really meaningful to you. And I think that will give everyone a chance to prepare and try to make the day as meaningful as possible in a way that feels as true to who you all are. Second are end of year teacher gifts. It's easy to just push this off until the end of the year, but right now is the perfect time to get those in order so that when the busyness of the end of the school year is happening, you're not feeling this pressure and push to get those gifts pulled together last minute. There's just so much going on at the end of the school year. I always recommend get ahead of it now. If your kids are changing closets for the seasons, whether it's spring weather, summer weather, you're probably going to have to account for the fact that they've outgrown some things. I have a great resource I'm going to link to in the show notes to help you edit your kids' closets and just minimize how much you're spending on those clothes and really streamlining what you're purchasing. So now's the perfect time of year to use that. So I'll be sure to link that for you below. It's totally free. Make sure you grab it. Also, at the end of May, we have Memorial Day weekend. This probably won't take much time and effort, but if you're a family that throws a party or you get away for the weekend, or maybe you just need it on the radar that the kids are going to be home from daycare that day, whatever it is, just be aware of it and make sure you have those plans squared away if need be. Also, around that time, you're going to have a lot of special events at your child's school or daycare. So make sure that you start going over teacher emails with a fine-tooth comb, check the school calendar, and just make sure that you are fully aware of all of the end of school year activities. That might be any last school events, exams, sports tournaments, or performances. These things all seem to happen right in May or early June. You also might need to tie up any last minute summer break planning. So whether that's making sure that summer camps are squared away, or that you've pulled together some ideas for some family fun days, or if you're planning a family vacation, depending on when that's going to fall, you might want to start doing some pre-planning there. And as I already mentioned, don't forget that you're probably going to get hit with this desire to do some spring cleaning. So set your expectations for yourself right now in what that should look like. It will help you fight the urge to get in and deep clean everything and put all your time and energy into that, because you have to remember you can only put a fraction of your time and energy into that because you need the rest of it for everything else going on in your life. Also, if you're into gardening, or if you have a home and you need to care for your yard, do a little bit of winter cleanup, just make sure that you start your planning. If you're doing any planting, you're probably already on it, but I know it's just great to carve out some time one weekend to just clean up all the extra leaves, cut back any of the growth from last year, and just get the yard looking great for summertime. Also, summer is when it gets really hard to get in for doctor's appointments. So just make sure that if your child is due for any checkups, or if you are due for any checkups, that you schedule those necessary doctor, dentist, or specialist appointments now, especially before summer activities begin. That's going to be really important too if you need medical paperwork at the start of the school year. You do not want to wait until July to try to get the kids in for an appointment in August. It is just a recipe for disaster. So typically your doctor's appointments should be open for now through the start of the year. So give them a call, just get it scheduled now. You'll be so glad you did that earlier rather than later. And lastly, make sure that amidst all of these seasonal things that are cropping up, amidst all the busyness of everyday life, that you are still prioritizing your personal time and self-care. Don't roll your eyes at me. I see some of you doing that right now. I get it. You know that you need to be doing it. You don't want to be reminded that you should be doing it, but sometimes we need that encouragement and that support that it is equally important, just as important as everything else. So I want you to think about from now through May or early June, what's your plan for prioritizing your self-care? Make it sacred. Keep it protected. Don't let go of all of it. Make sure that you have that time to recharge your batteries. Make sure you get enough energy so that you can keep up with all these to-dos. So as we wrap up today's episode, I want you to really remember that you should go through this list with a fine-tooth comb and really edit it. Think about if it actually applies to what you and your family need, as well as whether it aligns with what actually matters to you and your family. That is the secret sauce to choosing a seasonal list of tasks that really aligns with the rest of your everyday priorities. You'll find that you can make a little bit of space for those few things as opposed to trying to overwhelm yourself by doing all of them on top of everything else that you already have going on. And more than anything, I hope you enjoy this time of year. It is such a productive time of year. It's a time when we really feel like we hit our stride and that we're getting a lot of things done, and that always feels so good. Just remember, don't burn yourself out in the process. Your family still needs you to be at your best. You want to be at your best. So don't compromise on that. That is more important than anything else. That is more important than anything else on your to-do list. And as we wrap up this week's episode, remember, mom life is complex, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Here's to leading with purpose and intention as you simplify mom life in the week ahead. You've just finished another episode of the Mom Life Handbook podcast. Remember to check out the episode description for all the important links and highlights from today's show. While you're there, tap the subscribe button so that new episodes are always at your fingertips. Before you go, I'd really appreciate hearing your thoughts about the show. It takes as little as 30 seconds to leave a review, and your honest thoughts help me create a better show and help other moms discover it too. And if this episode really helped you out, go ahead and hit the share button to text it to a friend or share it on social media. You never know who in your life might benefit from a little extra support. Don't forget, there are lots of ways to stay connected beyond the podcast. Head over to momlifehandbook.com for additional resources or to learn about how to work with me. And be sure to follow along on Instagram at momlifehandbook. Send me a DM to say hey or to share your thoughts on today's episode. Connecting with you personally is what I really love most. And just in case you need to hear it today, you're doing an incredible job. I know it doesn't always feel like it, but you're here, learning how to be better and do better. Keep working to bring more intention and ease into your life, and know that I'm right here cheering you on. You're creating a beautiful journey for you and your family. I am so proud of you.